Well, hello, it's Andrew here yet again, and this is episode 217, and we're continuing with the visit of the Magi. We pick the narrative up at Matthew chapter 2 verses 9 through to 12. When they heard the king, the wise men set out. And there ahead of them went the star that they'd seen at its rising, until it stopped at the place, over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. You can imagine, can't you, their joy. They came out of Jerusalem so dispirited. It seems like they're on a fool's errand and they're the fools. Imagine the prospect of returning home with the story of their humiliation, their reputations in tatters. Yet there's a spark of hope. The star again is seen, and it's leading them in the right direction, towards Bethlehem. It all has to be a good sign. The Jewish scholars and the stars are in alignment, they agree. It's difficult to unpick what the words in the text actually mean. They'd seen the star in its rising, and now it had stopped over the place where the child is. It's in the state of stopness that their joy is complete. They're confident that they're on track. And clearly they are. Jesus, with Mary and Joseph, have clearly been promoted, no longer in a stable, but now in a house. It's possible that they stayed there for some time, yet given the relatively short time after these events that Herod seems to have died, it's likely that their time in Bethlehem was relatively short. Enough anyway to cover the naming, the circumcision and the presentation of Jesus at the temple, as we read these events outlined in Luke's Gospel. The Magi had found what they were looking for, and have come to offer the gifts they've brought, which they do, not in the smelly stable, but in the main room of the house where Mary, Joseph and Jesus are currently staying. What a joyful occasion for the Magi and for Mary and Joseph. Imagine the stories that were told in the brief time they shared together. Stories that reinforce the sense that each has had, that God has been profoundly at work and has called them all and each into this. Each will have come away from the encounter with a strong sense of confirmation. And we all need that from time to time. Confirming words, confirming events, that which goes beyond what our overactive imaginations can produce and shows that there is more going on here than is rationally explaining. The Magi, as they returned, helped on their way by Herod. Ironically, he helped them to find Jesus. And with the words of the religious leaders, they've been given extra confirmation that they were on track. And as they were sensitive to the sense that Herod was not to be trusted, and they were warned in dreams, and that they returned by an alternative route which would be best for everybody, except perhaps for Herod. And as they go, they'll have the stories concerning the conception and birth of Jesus ringing in their hearts, told directly to them by Mary. Makes absolute sense, doesn't it? And for Mary and Joseph, what a delightful, unlooked for, serendipitous surprise to entertain such exotic, well-educated and obviously high-born a delegation from a foreign power, all come to honour the one recently born among them, honoured with the journey, the fact that they had taken this long and arduous journey itself was a large part of the gift. And then their presence. And finally the presents, the gifts that they brought. I wonder how often Mary went to that special bit. How often Mary went to that special box where the gifts were stored. Just to have a wee peek. Just to remind herself that it was all real. That it really did happen. And that this was not just a flight of fancy on her part. And that even as the years rolled away in ordinariness, and there were a lot of them, to actually be reminded that God was still quietly at work doing something extraordinary. And there was a coming day when it was all going to come to its fulfillment. Isn't that true though? Isn't that how life is? I think so. God bless you.